All right, on today's 30-minute mechanic, we're gonna play with the red car. Got some data logs. I drove it around this weekend, discovered a new problem. So buckle up, let's go. All right, got my data log pulled up here of driving around. Drove around a little bit, got it up on boost. Well, let me pause here. We were running into a situation where the car was leaning out under boost. At about 8 pounds of boost, it would start to go lean, and it would just keep trending lean the longer you stayed in boost. So, previous video, we crawled in the trunk and played trunk monkey there, and we swapped out the fuel pump for a 255 liter per hour fuel pump. Well, and we hoped that would fix our lean out problem, and it sort of did. So let's look at what we got here. If you look at the white line here is RPM. Okay, that's white line shoots up for RPM. Our cyan, our light blue line is our boost PSI. So right there where my crosshair is, we're at 9.1 pounds of boost. So, hey, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's about what we're hoping it'll make. The green line's coolant temperature. Don't have to worry about that. This green line here is pulse width. I'm not going to worry about that right now. What we're going to look at in this little frame here is the red line is our battery voltage, and the gray line is our AFR. Now you'll see previously when we got into boost for any extended period of time on the old data logs, our AFR would just continue to rise. You know, it was just on an upward trend towards liquid pistons. This time, it comes up and it trends up, but then it kind of plateaus. So we're going in the right direction. Our AFR, like right here, our AFR is 14.0, which is still too lean, but at least it's 14.0. I mean, it's staying right in that area. It comes up. It's good down here. Then it kind of comes up and then stays lean. Okay. Now, if you'll notice, what's the battery voltage doing here? Man, our battery voltage is like wacko. And it's like at 10 volts here. So we've got battery voltage, which is not very good over here, which is probably, let's just pop over there and see what that is. That's like 11. Here's 11 volts, which is low already. And then we get on the gas, and by the time we're really making hay and RPM and boost and everything, our battery voltage is at 10 and sometimes below 10. I mean, right there, it's maybe, it's 10. Yeah. One of my other traces, it was down to 9.5. So we're seeing the voltage go down, and that makes our AFR come up. So we're not making voltage there. And I was like, well, why are we not making voltage? What's going on with that? Okay. This car, we've had trouble with keeping the battery charged in this car, and it has a draw somewhere in it. I don't know where. So I just keep the battery disconnected when we're not using it, and it's been fine. But this time, after running around, I just happened to look at the voltmeter on the dash, and it was showing like 10 volts. And I was like, well, that's not right. And in previous logs, I didn't have battery voltage displayed. For whatever reason, I just completely didn't have it listed. It didn't have it shown on the screen. So this time I turned it on, and lo and behold, our battery voltage is just taking a dump when we're driving around with it. It starts out good, and then it just goes downhill from there. And you end up with it being really bad at the end. So I was like, well, what's causing that? Okay, let's check the alternator. Well, alternator, put the thing on, alternator doesn't really seem to be charging. It's like, well, why? And I'll show you why. So I was curious, so I pulled out the harness that we installed a while back over to the alternator. It connects the alternator and then comes back over here and hooks up. Well, I never messed with this end of the harness. I just disconnected the alternator and I flopped it over here out of the way. And then when we were ready to put the alternator back in, I just ran it back through there and hooked it up. Well, of course, it was covered in the factory loom, plastic loom stuff, so you really couldn't see anything. Well, you look at this end of it. Okay. The big cable. Okay, there's a big cable right here. Boop, and that connects the alternator, and it goes where it's supposed to go, so it's not a big deal. But the small connector, okay, you've got this one white wire, and that's proper. It comes out, loops around, and it goes back into the alternator for whatever reason, forward. And then, oops, come back here. And then you've got two more wires. Of course, this stuff was all covered up with tape. Got two more wires. One of them has been stripped, the green one, and twisted back together. It may be soldered. I'm not sure. I can't see it without my readers on, but it's definitely been cut apart there and put back together. And then I peel off the loom off of all of this, and I get back to here, and I go, hey, wait a minute. That's not right. Those two wires aren't connected to anything. So two of my wires that control my alternator were not even connected. So no wonder it wasn't charging. Now, this morning I walked out here and stuck my head in the engine bay, boop, turned the light on, and lo and behold, here is the connector that those two wires are supposed to be plugged into. So today's project is we're going to see if we can find a connector in my connector pile that these will hook up to and plug back into there, and then we can reconnect our alternator and see if we have actual alternator alternating. So let's dive into this and see if we can get it fixed. All right, the first thing we're going to do is I put my readers on and I can see this. These little wires have just been twisted together here, which probably, I don't know. It's probably actually fine. It's not the way I would do it, but I mean, we're not talking high voltage stuff here or high amp stuff. I think I will turn them off a little bit. And just put a crimper smasher connector on there. Because we're not worried about, we just want continuity. We don't really care. Okay, got that little part corrected. Now the next part is going to be a little more difficult. Mainly because I don't have, well, I haven't been able to find a connector just yet. I haven't stepped up my search game super high yet. Actually, if you work on this stuff long enough, like this right here, and you work on a car, and you don't throw the harness away. If you ever take wiring out of it, don't throw the harness away. Just put it in a pile somewhere, because you never know when you're going to need one of these daggum things. I thought that was going to be it, but it's not the right one. It kind of looks like it is sort of right, but nope, not right. And I got another one here somewhere. Well, that one's around. That one might work. I'm going to clip it off and see if it'll plug in. The other problem is the one down here has 4 wires coming out of it. Although I think 2 of them are ground. Oh yeah, that plugs in. Now the question is, okay, so the green and I think that's going to work. Because it's only got 2 wires coming into it and 2 pins in there, dirty. But it does fit the connector, and the wires are in the proper location to work. So that's a good deal. So we're just going to do the same little strip and snip and crimper smasher that dude in there. That simplifies things a bit. I wonder why these were not connected. Which, totally may explain why this car has, like, that alternator looks brand new. Like somebody was like, oh, it's not charging. It's not charging, so we better put an alternator in. And they put an alternator in and it still didn't charge. Well, it's because the wiring wasn't connected properly. I mean, that's the stuff you run into sometimes when you buy somebody else's project. I mean, if somebody were to jump in and try to, okay, I said the green lined up with the green. If somebody tried to jump in and work on my 83, my red 83 Mustang, they would lose their minds because the wiring is so horrible on it right now. That one's connected. That's a little heavier wire, but we're gonna go with it. Anyways, see how it works. Okay, now those are connected up. Now what we might do here, in the interest of science, we may just run our connections over there for now to make sure it works. And then we'll come back and if they do, we'll unplug them and run them, lube them up and run them the direction we want them to run. Okay, so now we got the wire connected there. And then we're gonna move over there and finish up at the alternator side. So hold on. Okay, here we are with our trusty 10mm wrench. And we're just gonna, I don't like that laying across the top of all those plug wires, but temporarily it will be fine. So we're just connecting this up just long enough to see if alternator starts alternating her. And now, for the life of me, I don't understand this lead. It comes out of the alternator, loops around, and goes right back into the alternator. I probably should find a new plug because look at that thing. It's like exploded. But it kind of stays in place, amazingly enough. Okay, everything is plugged in where it should be. So, alternator's reconnected properly. Think it'll work? Think something will catch on fire? Maybe we'll turn the camera a little bit this way. And we'll hook the battery up and see if smoke comes out. Move a couple of things here. Maybe Don't really need that. The 10mm right there out of the way. I'm going to move some of these tools so I don't accidentally knock them into anything. Okay, battery connected. See anything smoking? Don't see any smoking, do you? Okay, that part looks good. Let's see if it starts. And then watch the gauge. I may need to connect the micro squirt, no, what's that thing called? Laptop, and see if it, let's try to start it first. The battery may be too dead, I don't know. Battery may be too dead. Dang, I should have charged it today because my jump box is not charged. Dadgum. Really wanted to see if that would work. But first test passed. No smoke with the key on. So that's good. Okay, I went in, put the battery on charge for just a little bit. Let's see if it'll start this time. And then see what we got on our voltmeter in here. I don't know if I left it on there long enough. We'll find out. The glove box light is pretty dim, so may not. Fired up. Got a battery light on the dash now that we did not have before. Oh crud, it died. Just as I was getting let's get my voltmeter out of here. Stick it on the battery. See what it says when it's running. Come on. Maybe it's got enough juice to crank again. Come on. It only does this. It only does this when it's really cold. Motor's cold. Ah, look at that. It shows well, I don't know about this. Oh, 42. I mean, it's staying pretty consistent. Well, it's kind of, I don't know. All right, shut the car off, and the battery says 12.68. So maybe it's not charging. I don't know yet. we're gonna have to do some more troubleshooting, I think. I would want this to be like 13 and a half while it's running. So we may have to do some more thinking here. Maybe that connector that's all smashed on the back of the alternator is no good, and we need to, I didn't check those wires for continuity. So maybe we should kind of back up and do some of that kind of stuff. But out of time for today. That's going to do it for today's 30-minute mechanic. Kind of a short one. Trying to figure out the charging system on this car. I don't know what's up. I don't think it's charging, but some of the wiring is still pretty iffy. So I guess we'll dive into it another day. So like, subscribe, tell your friends, ring the bell, and watch the playlists. And we'll see you next time. Bye.